For instance, I learned that we have to derive lessons from earlier peoples, our ancestors. A couple of, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I think they were from Japan, Sasaki-san, Taniguchi-san, that's my notes if I'm not mistaken. For instance, they suggested that most populated area in Saijo was without water. And they were trying to understand why those people populated that area. How did they solve the problem? What we do is usually go to the area where there is ample water, the best water, the water resource. So why did people go there? Maybe not to waste the ample water elsewhere. Maybe that is the solution. Maybe that was the correct solution, which we now neglect, which we now think is wrong. You have to be at the end of the fountain to solve it better. So that's what I learned. And I also am more content that we really have to focus. We have to limit our data need, focus our attention to only particular aspects of culture, not all culture, which is limitless. Those aspects which will help us develop integrated, multi-sectoral development projects, which include man, animals, nature, water, whatever you can think, technology, everything, including earlier technologies, rather than ignoring, rather than neglecting, rather than refusing to learn, which I'm happy to see that no one refuses earlier technologies. I think we have been learning, we began to learn to respect earlier technologies, which may sound primitive vis-a-vis computer or other technologies, but maybe were more efficient. Can be more efficiently used actually with these devices used as instruments. Another thing I can derive from the session on culture and what I have listened to and learned in other sessions. I try to actually listen to and learn many, more than only those on culture or other issues. I also learned that similarities must be emphasized as much as diversities, as much as differences. Sometimes differences unite, sometimes similarities push people apart. If I and my wife look too similar, believe me, we cannot get along well. We have to rather be complementary. So what is diversity? It should not be limited to diversity alone, which implies differences. I respect differences. Many of the people I see around me, sitting next to me, are different in a sense. But I believe that they're nodding when I speak, that we agree on issues, just like I agreed with them on many of the things they have suggested. So differences do not prevent us from agreeing. What about similarities? The points at which we agree, evidently we think in a similar fashion. Evidently we have similarities which combine us, just like diversities which unite us here. And actually, yesterday or the day ago, I'm about to finish, thank you very much. One last thing about, there was a frog metaphor in one of the speeches that actually has been really very teaching for me as well. I made up an American expression, I don't know, maybe it exists, or maybe a better one, much better one. Hear what is right, not what is loud, is my last word. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. actually, we used the time which at the beginning belonged to us. So just maybe 2 questions. We can open the floor for culture and water and culture, for the topic water and culture. No more questions? Where? Okay. Yes, please.
I'm K.M. Sharma from India. Most of our cultures, past civilizations, have taught us a lot, particularly about the water culture. But unfortunately, the politicians in most of the countries have misunderstood culture. They've made culture, they've understood culture as a subset of religion, which has come much later, whereas culture is a subset of knowledge, which has always existed. So my question to the educationists, the anthropologists, and all those people is, how can you divide this, bridge this divide between the awareness with the politicians, because they treat that the vote bank should be there, the curriculum, which always contained a chapter on cultures, past cultures, is removed by the next government that comes in power, and so on, because the same reason that they don't understand what culture is and how to segregate it from religion. So how the education, how the politicians and those who matter can be trained or can be educated in this regard.
If I have not misunderstood you, actually I don't think I do distinguish religion, culture as 2 different things. And I include into culture science, for instance, our conception of science. It is also part of our culture. I know, that's why I am suggesting that diversity in culture includes all of them. I mean, you cannot understand an American as if he is of no religion, no religious faith. You cannot understand his culture if you take all religious elements from out of that American. You cannot easily understand any person if you just try to take away every religious elements, every elements of faith, belief from a person. What is left of is also, of course, parts of culture. Culture is a whole, according to... First of all, we have to mention that I have studied anthropology. I didn't mean to exaggerate or imply anything about my education. I'm not anything, I haven't seen anything maybe in that sense. I'm just trying to suggest that my education as a social science major, that's what I called myself, that's what I have been calling myself, have taught me that there is no single concise definition of culture yet made. I don't think you will agree with me in this conception of culture, in this notion of culture, because there is no single culture definition at all. Just let's go together to any library in the world and pick up 5 articles on culture or books. Believe me, we will see 5 different definitions in them. The only common elements are, the words like adjectives like traditions, comma, customs, comma, norms, comma, values that bring people together. This is the only common thing people might agree upon, which I'm not sure. So I don't think we have to, and actually that's why, exactly why, because it is so broad a notion actually. We have to narrow it down to make it implementable.